And now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for BJ's best.
Well, thank you, Drew. We were, joking around last week. I don't know if you were. I mean, you were kind of a little bit serious when you said, "Stop stealing my what my go-to is with the, what's on your mind and what I did for BJ's best when we looked at what the national day of the week is." But I didn't do that this time, so you should be happy with me, Drew. You should be happy. Give him a smile. Yeah, that's fine. Um, the thing that for me, I came across this and I thought it was interesting and I really want to talk about it. So, Drew, what can you tell me about artificial intelligence? And maybe you can unmute yourself before you tell me.
That needs to go away.
You don't like it?
No.
Well, I'm kind of right there with you. In all honesty, Drew, I'm very skeptical, very hesitant to do things with AI, but there is some benefits, question mark, maybe perhaps, of artificial intelligence. It is can be used for good, but it can obviously be used for evil. And this is, I think, good, but it could also be it could open up a hornet's nest, for lack of better terminology. Come
Okay.
across this article a couple days ago. I thought about wearing my shirt, but I didn't. I'm a big Beatles fan. I think we've talked about that here on the show before, Drew, you and I. And so anytime I don't get alerts, but I think just because of my search history, the my phone knows when to send me notifications about Beatles or anything having to do with that. And so get a headline. It says Sir Paul McCartney says that artificial intelligence has enabled them to create a final Beatles song. So
Oh boy.
this is interesting because this goes back to John Lennon was one of the original four members of the Beatles. He died over 40 years ago now. Back in 1980, he was assassinated, and he before he had died, he recorded some demos and lost tracks that eventually there were two that the surviving members of the Beatles did in the 90s. There was Free as a Bird, and I think the other one was, let's see, Real Love is the name of the other one. They did these in the 90s as new Beatles songs, even though the Beatles had been broken up since late 69, early 1970. Um, and they put this together for at the time what they were calling the Beatles anthology albums. Um, but now, because of artificial intelligence, Sir Paul McCartney says that there is going to be another Beatles song, a final Beatles record, because the technology was used to extricate John Lennon's voice from an old demo so that he could complete the song. It said that this is going to be finished up and released later on this year. The song has not been given a name, but it's likely going to be titled Now and Then, which is what Lennon had written in 1978. He had recorded a demo track at his home studio, and it was part of the material that his wife Yoko Ono gave to Paul in the 90s. That being said, they had this in the 90s. They could have done it when they released the other two songs as part of the anthology, but apparently the audio quality was not great, not good enough to be done at that time. The technology did not exist to clean that up and try to isolate his vocals from the instrument that he was playing, and just the sound quality was just not good. Um, until now, they were able to clean up the tape, and um, so they gave it a try back in the 90s. They tried to record this album or this song, and they said that it had a chorus but did not have really anything in verses. They were able to do a backing track, but they just really didn't have a kind of a good direction as to where to go with it. Um, Paul said that George was really not a fan of it. He didn't want to do it because he said that the the vocals on John's track were his quote rubbish. But now, because of artificial intelligence, they were able to allow this computer. They got a computer to recognize the voices of the Beatles. So, because of the documentary that came out a few years ago that Peter Jackson did, they have this computer that was able to recognize their voices and separate them from background noises, such as even their own instruments, and to to do a clean track. And so now, because of this technology, they are able to put this together with his voice and a piano, and separate the two with artificial intelligence. The machine was told, "Hey, that's his voice. This is the guitar sound. Lose the guitar sound," and so they were able to get a clean demo of just John Lennon's pure voice, and then they can mix it how you would normally mix a song. So it's very interesting. It's very frightening that this technology is out there, but it to me at least it's intriguing because I'm interested to see how it's going to sound. If it sounds realistic enough, Drew, is there any way that you can even tell going forward whether this is a real song that an artist was in the studio and recorded or not? Because I think you heard about the Drake and the Weekend song that was done entirely with AI. That sounded so real, like it was a legitimate song that they had done
That's why I
together.
don't like it.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, that's part of my concern about it. But this is something that they were able to do because they had permission from Yoko and the estate, obviously, because when Yoko turned over that album, or the cassette it was to Paul, I don't know if she thought that they were going to be able to do this in her lifetime, but
Well,
when they weren't able to do it in the 90s. But I'm intrigued. I want to know what this sounds like, and if it sounds like a Beatles track or what, because I see this as being released as a Beatles song, but I don't think George is on it because he died in '01. So I think it could be just a Paul and John thing is really what it could be.
yeah, some people are going to be intrigued by the AI thing and want to try things like that, and then others are going to be on the other side of it.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know, man. I personally not the fan of the AI stuff and the
yeah.
chat, whatever,
Chat
G-
GPT.
GPT,
Yeah,
all that dumb stuff, and all these robots, whatever they're making. Not
yeah.
really a fan. So
No,
I
I
mean,
get it. I'm
the
right there with
song
you.
probably sounds exactly like what you would think the Beatles song or this song should sound like because I mean they made the stupid little intelligence to where you can't even hardly tell.
Yeah. But yeah, I shy away from the Chat GPTs and things, but I'm at least intrigued enough to know what this is going to sound like. I'm hoping that this is about the extent of it we get in the music industry with the artificial intelligence, though. So fascinating, scary stuff. Let's just get into something a little less bleak with our future. That's BJ's best this week, Drew.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gents. That is indeed